Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's time for the Teen Mom 2 Season 8, Episode 10 recap. The show starts off with Cole and Chelsea finding out that they're having a baby boy, and then we quickly transition into Kail calling up her friend, what's her name, Sterling, on FaceTime to discuss the fact that she is absolutely open to having 50-50 custody of Lincoln with Javi. Now over in West Virginia, Leah is driving the kids over to school when she gives Gracie the most backhanded compliment of life. So she looks at an assignment that Gracie wrote out, and so she was like, Gracie, your handwriting is so beautiful, so amazing. I have to reward you for this. I have to give you $1. I'm so proud of you. And so Allie was like, Mommy, what about my writing? Don't you think my writing's beautiful? And so Leah more or less is like, well, yeah, Allie, your writing is beautiful, but we expect that from you. We don't really expect too much from Gracie, so I'm gonna give her $1. I'm proud of her. I was like, okay, girl, damn. Now over at Janelle's house, David isn't around because he's in school studying how to manage Janelle's career. And so she's watching Kaiser and David's daughter Marissa when her friend comes over to talk about her upcoming deposition for custody of Jace. I don't know if Janelle's friend is literally too stupid to understand why Barbara would not want Jace in Janelle's custody, or if she's just forced to ask that by MTV producers, but she asked the question anyway, and Janelle implies that the reason that Barbara wants to keep Jace is so that she could exploit him for MTV money, which is horribly ironic because between the three adults, Janelle, David, and Barbara's the only one with a job outside of MTV. So if anyone is living off of this child and the whole teen mom thing, it is David and Janelle. So some filler scene that I don't even care to describe goes by, and then we come back to Janelle and her lawyer talking post-deposition, and her lawyer, you guys, in the scene was dressed more like a dental hygienist. I was like, girl, where'd you get this little wardrobe? It is not for the courts. Our sweet, naive little Janelle thinks she did a fantastic job and that she's guaranteed custody of Jace back because she owns a plot of land and has a boyfriend of 24 weeks that she's pretty much 12 weeks pregnant by. So to her, that's stability and grounds for having her child back. Her lawyer, on the other hand, was not too convinced about this. She reminded Janelle that she's got 16 freaking mugshots that were brought up in court, and all of the boyfriends that she's had, what is it, 7 boyfriends in 7 years, that she's moved into her house and introduced to her son, were discussed. And so Janelle was like, no, don't worry about it. Honestly, yeah, that's kind of bad, but at the same time, this town is pretty small, and I feel like I've been through this courthouse enough for the judges to watch me grow up each year. And so now they know what I was like then versus what I'm like now. So I'm gonna get Jace back. And her lawyer's face was just like, you know what, this bitch is paying for my child's private school tuition, so let me just smile and nod. Yeah, you're gonna be fine. Over in West Virginia again, Leah tells her friend that Jeremy is really controlling and acts like she has to bring Addie to him at his whim, and he's always changing the schedule. And she also complains about the fact that apparently Jeremy was in town for over 4 days before asking to see Addie after being away for over 4 months, and that really pissed her off, and that their relationship is really making her anxiety flare all the way up. And at that point I'm kind of like, oh, is that what's been going on with her? Because she's been seeming really off. At that point I was really wondering what Leah is doing to manage her anxiety, because if it is pills, then that's a whole other can of worms that I hope she doesn't open ever again. Now over in Dover, Petty Betty drops the kids off at Poppy's home, and over there she lets him know that she's going to agree to 50-50 custody, but in typical Kail fashion, she's not just going to say, yes, you can have 50-50 custody of our son because he is 50% yours. She has to go, well, you should be worshiping me for allowing you to have 50-50 custody, because this is why I don't wear jewelry, you guys, because I'm his mama and I pretty much raised him alone for 8 months. Girl, you knew what you were getting into when you chose to seek Javi for his military benefits. Military people typically get deployed and have to be away from home for months, if not years at a time. So why all of a sudden are you acting like you're a hero for watching your child while your husband was out doing the job you knew he had when you chased him down to marry him for his benefits? You're not a hero, girl. And so I was eating a plum during this scene, you guys, and I just about choked and had to do the Heimlich on myself when Poppy was like, girl, quit playing. I know damn well you had these kids in day camp 5 days a week, all damn day, all summer. was like, Poppy, be careful, you're not wearing your helmet. She might shake your head again. And so he didn't even finish there. He's like, I know you were too busy playing around with your little friends. And so at that point, Kale, obviously, because the conversation was not going according to plan, he was not like at her feet praising her, decides, you know what, this conversation's over, I'm leaving. You know, low blow, I'm leaving. And so she leaves and goes outside, tells the producers, I'm so done with his low blows. And side note, did you guys think that she was pregnant in this scene when she was bitching to producers about Javi? Like, something looks a little bit off over here. And so their producer, who I will now refer to as Andy Samberg because twins, heads back into Javi's house where Javi is laughing about the shade he just threw at his baby mama before deciding, you know what, like, I feel pretty bad. I'm gonna call her to apologize. So we think. His petty ass actually threw more shade at her over the phone about her claims of putting the kids in summer camp in order to finish her summer classes. He's like, well, did you finish? What month did you stop? And she was a month off. So he's like, what about that month that you weren't in school? Like, why were the kids in summer camp? And so then we transition over into Janelle driving back home, I assume, and calling David to tell her how the deposition went. And she absolutely, completely misrepresents what her lawyer said. So in Janelle's mind, her lawyer was not at all worried, believes that Janelle will absolutely have custody of Jace back. And it was just a really, really stupid conversation. At a certain point, Janelle tells David that one of Barbara's concerns that she brought up to the lawyers was the fact that Janelle may not be financially stable after MTV stops filming her life. And so at that point, David scoffs, she works at Walmart. Oh, okay, and you work where? And Janelle works where? Exactly, didn't think so. Now we're back in the land of Chelsea, where she tells her bootleg Audrina looking friend that Adam has a warrant out for his arrest because he's behind $10,000 on child support collectively between Aubree and Paisley. Next up, Leah and Jeremy meet up to exchange Addy, and at that point he pretty much blurts out the fact that he's engaged by just being like, so I assume you know I'm engaged. And so Leah was like, no, I didn't, but congratulations. And so at that point, little Miss Leah decides she is absolutely more than qualified to give Jeremy marriage advice. Like, she wasn't twice divorced by 23, all because she was addicted to cheating on her husband with like the same guy. The conversation quickly escalates with both of them calling their marriage like the biggest mistakes of their lives and super irrational. Leah then gets back in the car with little Addie, and I swear to God, Leah's dentist must love her, worship her, like send her gift baskets every holiday, every kid's birthday, because of the way she feeds them. Literally, as soon as Addie gets in the car, Leah gives him one of those like fruit sugar chewy thingies, those leather straps, I forget what they're called, and like a fucking Snapple. Like, do you not know how to feed these kids anything healthy at all? Then in Chelsea land, she and her bootleg Audrina friend are just driving back home, and Aubree is just really, really crabby that ride. And so Chelsea was not having it with her, and so she threatens to discipline her, but as usual doesn't follow through. Honestly, at this point, you guys, Chelsea threatening to discipline Aubree is like Janelle threatening to take Jace from Barbara. Like, you hear these threats all the time, but nothing ever actually really happens, and you're kind of just over it. But she did have Aubree text Brittany an apology, which I guess was pretty good at the end of the day. This next scene with Barbara, you guys, I feel so bad for her that she is assigned to like the most irritating and antagonistic producer in teen mom history. She was like, why don't you just give Jace back to Janelle? She did everything you said she should do. Give her back the child. Like, really, Kristen? Really? Like, the amount of times Janelle has been involved in domestic violence disputes, the amount of times she's been engaged, you know, the amount of times she's been arrested since this child was born, and you think Barbara is about to all willy-nilly uproot Jace from his regular, normal life with her to give him back to, like, this person that he only knows as an auntie? Really? Really, Kristen? Really? Barbara has the patience of 10,000 angels, because I would have backhanded that bitch by now. Like, stop playing with me, Chico. Stop it. And so, you know what? I really loved Barbara's answers to all of Kristen's stupid ass question. She was like, listen, this is about Jace and his normalcy and his safety and like what's going to give him the best shot at life. And right now it's not with Janelle. And then she starts crying about it. And like, it's just so crazy to notice that every time someone asks Barbara about the custody, she's always talking about what's best for Jace and what's in his best interest and stuff like that. And she gets super emotional about it. But Janelle's all about like, he's mine, this is for me, I need this. And she never really mentions what's best for Jace. And she doesn't really get emotional about his well-being. She only gets emotional about what she perceives as losing, you know, to her mom. Isn't it kind of crazy, you guys, how this season pretty much the only people worth watching are Kailyn and Javi? So the two of them meet up at a restaurant to discuss how their mediation for custody of Lincoln went. And so Kail is wearing a shirt so tight it starts rolling up her back and her sides and stomach and stuff, and her jeans are so tight she's waddling and probably like catching like the most wicked yeast infection of the planet. But as soon as they sit down, her petty ass critiques Javi's shirt, which seemed pretty normally fitted to me, especially in comparison to what she was wearing. And so she's like, that's a little too tight for you. Can you even, you know, do this? Don't start. Like, you could be petty, but Javi has like some real stuff on you, girl. Like, if I were you, I would keep my mouth shut and suck up to this guy. If I knew he had like receipts on me, thoughting and bopping behind his back. And you know what? Let me just take a moment to point out how this is Kail being hypocritical as always, because just the last scene of the two of them, when Javi called to apologize, she told him that he needs to learn to bite his tongue and choose his battle. So what are you doing right here, Petty Betty? You're not biting your tongue, and this is absolutely not you picking your battles, girl. Hypocritical Kail strikes again, y'all. So they get into the conversation about custody and how it's pretty much 50-50, and that's going well. But then once they start talking about Christmas, Kail insists that she gets Lincoln pretty much the whole day for Christmas because he has to be with his brother Isaac. And it was like, so that's not Javi's fault. Like, Javi should not have to rearrange his life and his plans with his child just because you haven't discovered the wonderful world of birth control. And so what's gonna happen now that you've got a third baby daddy in the mix? Are you gonna be in charge of all this because you're the one with all these kids by all these men? And you guys, I saw a lot of petty ass comments about this scene that I'm not going to repeat. Like the one that said that Father's Day at her house is gonna need valet parking. The fight just continuously gets more and more heated until Kail's like, listen, this is not about us, this is about the kids. Javi's like, no, what about when you get another boyfriend? You always change things up on people. So what about when you get another boyfriend? Are we gonna have to change it all the time just because that's how you feel? And so Kail was like, oh, I'm not even thinking about a boyfriend. Like, what are you talking about? This is such a lie, you guys, because especially now that we know that this was around the time that she was seeking a fertility doctor for her and her little side piece while she was still married. Oh my God, anyone who could lie straight to your face like that with a straight face is not right. Absolutely not right. Something wrong with them, especially about something so serious about like the fact that they're trying to have a child with someone else behind your back. And so the conversation comes to an extreme blows when Kail was like, listen, my kids come first. And Poppy was like, oh, they do? And Petty Betty, she gets up. She's like, no, I'm done. Shut this down. No more talking. And so she leaves and she tells producers, I'm sick of his low blows. I'm not talking to him anymore. Like, I'm so sick of this. I'm ready to go. And so Javi's like, oh, like, I hear there's something wrong over here. Why don't you tell me to my face? What's wrong, girl? So at that point, she gets into her car and she's like, listen, I'm done with you on these slick comments. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm sick of it. You're so lucky I don't put your dirty laundry out there. And so Javi was like, no, you don't do it because I don't have any dirty laundry for you to put out there. I'm not the one getting passed around the city. And so Kail again lies and claims that she's not even thinking about other men at this point. And it's like, Kail, if you're not thinking about other men throughout this like divorce and separation, why are you 5 months pregnant and 2 months divorced right now?
How, Sway? You ain't got the answers, man.
And so Javi then again presses her, and this time he drops a full-blown bomb. He's like, Kail, did you or did you not admit off camera to cheating on me? And so she's like, you know what? Fuck you. What about that miscarriage that you blame me for? And Javi's like, no, we're not talking about that right now. I've already apologized to you for that. Let's talk about your cheating, boo-boo. Stop saying that your kids come first. Did they come first when you were spreading your legs around town? Oh my God, like he ripped my soul out. He read me for filth and I'm not even involved. Naturally, in Kail fashion, she drives off. She's like, I'm not even confronting this anymore. And that's when the episode ends, you guys. It was really something else this week. Javi really brought it for us. MTV, I am personally requesting that you guys give my puppy a raise because he came through with this episode. And so, as always, I'm more excited to hear what you had to say about it. So leave all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below and we'll chat. You can also like this video, subscribe for more. Feel free to share it with your friends or follow me across social media where I do love chatting with you. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching.